My name is Ory Okolloh, and I am a co-founder of Mzalendo. Feels like 1,000 years ago. 2005, I was still in law school, about to graduate. Was supposed to be working in the US. I had an offer with a law firm, but at the time I felt that I wanted to come back home. I'd spent all my summers actually when I was in undergraduate in law school. I was at Harvard Law School at the time, working in Kenya on different projects. It was also 3 years then into Kibaki's presidency. So the democratic space was opening up. And so it was quite exciting and technology was very early days of technology. And I was an active blogger. So the confluence of all of these things, me feeling I want to do work in the continent and at home specifically, having experienced the potential of technology while I was in the US and in law school, and the opening up of the space got me thinking, okay, what can I do? At the same time, when I was in law school, I was quite privileged to, the law school itself was quite keen to see how policy, law, and technology intersect. And so Harvard, the law school in particular, brought all the top thinkers around technology to see that intersection of tech policy. And quite a number of them were interested in Africa. And so I was inspired by engaging with them to see how can I take these ideas and bring them back home. So that was where my mind was at in 2005. I was just one of those weird kids in terms of being interested in politics. I'd say my personal political awakening was driven largely by my father, who was very engaged, very aware. You know, those days you had to listen to the BBC like hiding because it was illegal actually and banned quite a number of times. The radio, Nairobi Law Monthly, you didn't want to be caught reading it. That was Gitobe Manyara's publication, and many other things. So I grew up in an environment of a dictatorship with a father who was always talking about it, criticizing it, trying to go around it. And a generation of parents were very frustrated because their full potential could not be realized in that atmosphere. A combination of that, a combination of seeking justice, I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's a firstborn daughter. African firstborn daughter, where the weight of the world sits on you every time. But the sense of justice, as a sense that there is a better life we could be living in an open environment. And I was always attracted to books, to reading, I was a nerdy kid. And so, when I combined that, and the heroes at the time were activists, particularly lawyers, both democratic activists and lawyers who are then fighting for them. So your Martha Karua, your Gitobu, James Orengo, Okiombaka. And you looked at them I looked at them as a kid. I was like, okay, these are upright people doing the right thing and fighting for justice and being courageous. And I want to be like that. And so that has carried all through. If you meet someone who knew me in primary school, in high school, in university, in law school, in all my jobs, they'll say I'm probably the most consistent person when it comes to things political, when it comes to caring about how we can provide an environment that enables Kenyans and Africans in particular to thrive. And I find no matter what I have done, because I've tried to do many things, at the end of the day, it all comes back to governance and leadership. And if we don't get it right, we cannot live our full potential. And so that's kind of been my journey into political, I guess, in some ways, I don't even know. I can't tell you there was a time when I was ever not politically conscious. Let's say two things were critical in that moment. One was my friendship with Conrad, which in many ways was mostly virtual. But we were amongst the very early bloggers in the Kenyan, the African ecosystem, and always writing about the same things. You know, he was funnier and wittier. If you read all his old stuff, it's quite an incredible mind. Again, the combination of the opening up politically, but in some ways still shutting down, particularly with the shutdown of the Parliament website. But we had been having ongoing conversations around the frustrations we were feeling. And the second, I had come across a website at my time in school when I was looking at how technology can be leveraged for civic engagement. It was a UK website called They Work For You. And I loved the concept. And the idea was to track politicians because you pay them. Like in the same way, if you're an employee, you have KPIs, you have attendance, you have to demonstrate what you're doing. And I love that concept because it flipped how we thought about our leaders. They treat us as their servants, kind of, but yet we're the ones who employ them, basically. And so, and they had, and Tom, who we became good friends, had started with this website, They Work For You, but we're now opening up both the technology and the concept for other people to borrow and learn from. So those are the two critical things. One, that this existing friendship and meeting of minds on many things, and he was the tech person, and me being exposed to these ideas. And then the actual event was the shutdown of the Parliament websites, mostly because the MPs were not happy that their profiles were online, and a few in particular were very vocal about it. And so we thought, how this is not logical. And, I reached out and I'm like, okay, is there a way we can scrape the website? And he's like, I think so. And he got to work and scraped the website, and we relaunched it as Mzalendo. I'm the namer of things, so I came up with the name. The URL was available, and that's how we got started. I can never tell you whether we even had a strategy like this is what it's going to be. I think it started step by step. We had maybe one meeting, like the Java. Those days there was only one Java at, was it Kimathi Street? I think that's the only meeting we ever had for years about Mzalendo. Where we sat there, we were like, okay, what next? So the first idea was to put the profiles. Then we realized actually there's a lot more information behind the profiles. There's a handset. We'd never seen the handsets. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous because that's the business of Parliament. And initially, that was very cocky. I was like, yeah, let's go knock on the door and be like, give us the handsets so we can publish them. And guys were like, what are you talking about? And so it was a labor of love of one, building contacts within Parliament, staff who would then feed us documents. At the time, I had then moved to South Africa to be with my now husband. And so we were juggling. Every time I'd come to Nairobi, I'd be like looking for contacts. And poor Conrad then had the very exciting task of scanning all of these documents and uploading them painfully into the website, and then building up the profiles with the information that we could gather. So that was kind of what we spent most of 2006 doing. Like, how can we expand the profiles, include contact information, add the handsets, try and figure out the voting records, attendance. Actually, we started with attendance, which was impossible to figure out. And then I think one of the first innovative things Conrad built was a way for the citizens to then discuss their members of parliament. And we're like, oh, yeah, actually, the MPs should want to know what their constituents are saying. And so that was remarkable because actually the most active, I remember we're doing this with no funding, zero PR, like just literally, we build it, they will come. And the most active profiles would be from the most remote places. I remember North Hor, the constituency then, had the most like super active, engaged. People would even find each other there and then meet offline because you could see all the comments and engagement and so on. And so it was a kind of a gradual build-up of thinking about what's the universe of information that people would want to know about their representatives. The final thing we did in those early days was a very brave attempt to try and profile people who are running for office, candidates. And again, Conrad did like a phenomenal job of trying to scrape all the aspirants, build up information. We did some interviews with several of them. We eventually became friends with some of them because, well, they're like, wow, you're the only people who are actually giving us airtime because we're targeting progressive candidates. So at that time, Jonathan Mweke was running for MP in our sense. We profiled him. Edwin Macharia, later on to join Dalberg, was running for MP in Kenya. And these were like young, dynamic individuals running, and so we wanted to sort of show that there's also an alternative persona of who could become a member of parliament. I think it's captured in the name. We felt like it was a very patriotic endeavor. We always call it a labor of love because, I mean, you know, in the beginning, you're looking at the number of website visits. You're asking yourself, what are we even doing? Like, is this worth it? And there's a quote, the late Feroz Naraju, when he passed on, and someone shared a quote about him when, you know, he was asked, you're always in court bringing these cases or fighting these cases that sometimes look futile, like you're obviously going to lose, or the government is obviously going to rule against you. So why do you do it? And he says, for the record. And I'd say in those early days, it was for the record, not for the likes or the traffic or, you know, anything super transformational other than the concept that Parliament should be open and accessible. And we're going to build a record of that and what people are up to. I think it was also along the journey, we found a lot of people who supported us, many anonymously within Parliament, in terms of pointing us in the right direction, where to find information. We had artists who collaborated with us to, you know, do videography. If you remember Just a Band, we did a series, I mean, we're doing crazy things. Like, we did a series of videos, I don't even know where they are, that were incredible, with the Just a Band team, with Mbithi, who's now very famous. Yeah, so Mbithi, that time he was just starting out. So I'd say it, beyond just being for the record, it was also a place where we could find kindred spirits who are keen to be scrappy and keen to show that, you know, we can leverage technology to drive civic engagement. I was present for the first time we got funding to because we're like, okay, this thing needs to outgrow this scrappy operation. And so we got some support, I think, from that time at Media Network, where I later joined, but this is before I joined them, to work with the MyGov and Tom's team to build out the tech architecture in a way that was scalable. When I was at Google, actually, my first project, selfishly, uh, was to get the Gazette digitized and the Hansas digitized. And Google had sort of, I mean, it was for a public good, but it also then allowed us to scrape the data. So digitizing the Hansard and the Gazette was quite a critical moment. And then when we decided we actually needed to have people on the organization, and Jessica Musila joined us as the first ED, and we had the launch at the iHub of the official kind of Mzalendo launch, and I was there for that. Sarah Mitaro performed. I don't know if she can remember performing. And then growing up as an organization, like meeting our first hires, Gitungo, who's now joined us as an intern. So I think the transition from kind of a scrappy, okay, we'll just figure it out as we go along, to an institution. And I think for us recognizing, we had a choice. We could continue in that way, which has its advantages in that you're agile, you're creative, or you could build something that is around for a long time. And so I think making that decision and saying, this is bigger than us, and it's time to exit the stage, as it were, and leave it to people who can take it further. I think those were some of the critical moments for me. Any organization is only as good as its people, so I think we've been very privileged to have two great leaders, Jessica, who was able to midwife it to the point it got to, and Caroline, the current ED, who's just been phenomenal in terms of growing the team, the partnerships, the funding, but I think more importantly, the relationships with different stakeholders. And especially within Parliament. And so I think one is the trust that we have built as an independent, non-partisan, which doesn't mean you don't speak on issues, but everyone understands that you are coming at it from the right place. And I think particularly proud of the fact that we can now call ourselves one of the premier global Parliament watch organizations where people come to learn from us from other parts of the world. I think too, the first time we got mainstream media coverage was so exciting because guys are like, oh, they're these guys and this is what they do, and the scorecard, I think, was the first time we crossed over from kind of a very niche source of information, source of the record, to demonstrating why this matters to the ordinary person. So I think very proud of the scorecard with all the controversy it comes with, and even that has died down, where you now find, instead of people saying, who are these guys, you find members of Parliament either being excited or justifying their record. So I think the fact that it's moved from a very kind of sensational to something people look forward to every year, that's a proud moment. I think the work we have done around demystifying the role of women's rep, and there, because people are like, what do these guys do anyway? I thought that was a key piece of work that we did. We don't talk about this enough, but we have probably supported hundreds of PhDs and research into legislative work. And I think for me, the biggest recent moment was the finance bill. And the protests around them, because we literally then were the source of information. Even before the protests, when the engagement started to happen around the bill, what is this? And the work we did was, many people didn't understand the process, first reading, second reading, and then people are like, what do you mean they just shout, like there's no vote? And so we were the people tracking the actual vote, which MPs voted for yes or no. We've never received that much traffic in those weeks and months. It was quite hectic. And immediately it says we're a 20-year overnight success. Because I think it was the combination of what we really want is for people to understand and engage with the role of Parliament and over time the role of the counties. You asked about the Constitution. We're expanding our work to county assemblies and the role of MCAs. It's not CDF and it's not handing out bursaries. They make decisions that are literally life and death decisions for the country. And so I think that we were there to meet the moments where the citizens were awakened. Is something I am very proud of what the organization and the team has done. I think not many of us who have the capacity, the intellect, the networks in this part of the world spend time building institutions. And especially now when everything is so, there's a new tech, there's a new platform, now we're on TikTok, who knows, there's AI, there's all of these things coming at us. But the work of institution building is so critical for this country and this region. And institutions that evolve, clearly we have evolved and maybe sometimes not even fast enough, we're always pushing the team. But the work of institution building is so critical to Kenya and Kenyans. And I think I would like, hopefully I'm here in another 20 years, but if I'm not, Conrad, like we're still celebrating 40 years and 50 years. It's like C-SPAN, in the US. No one ever thinks of a time where there was no C-SPAN. It's just there. And I would like Mzalendo to be that. Like you can't ever remember a time when there was no Mzalendo. I think the fact that we're embedded with, the speakers, majority leaders, minority leaders, senators, Kewapa, even within Parliament, we're extremely respected. I mean, that's incredible. And they can't even tell you who, it's not associated with an individual. Yeah, they just know. I think if we appear on stage next to it, people will be surprised that this is the team. We just know Mzalendo is there. That tells you have built something that is above personas, is above issues. It's really doing the work in a credible and an impactful way. And I think for me that if we can, and not billions of shillings or very scrappy, very lean team actually. 10 is plus we have interns, but it's a lean team that works very hard. I hope it's an encouragement to other people who have, as I said, the resources, the capacity, the intellect, the networks, and who care about this country, to really think about what are you building, whether it's a business or a nonprofit or a religious organization that will be around for a long time. What is your legacy? In a way that can say, okay, I did this for my country. Oh my God, it's worse. I think it has improved from a transparency point of view, that it's no longer as controversial, that we want to know what you're saying. Even the committees, I mean, we fought so hard for committee access, so hard. First for the press and then for organizations like Mzalendo to be able to report, and for the record of, because committees where a lot of the work happens. So progress in that it is, and not just that we feel that way, that the Kenyans feel that they need to know what their MPs are doing. The caliber of our representatives has gone down significantly. So if you look at old clips, I think when in that week of Raila's passing, when they were showing old clips of him as a legislator in Parliament, and the quality of the debate and the engagement, especially I'd say in maybe 97 to 02, because that was a very contentious period, and then 02 to 07. Which is Mirende was an amazing speaker. And so you see what the quality of having the right speaker is and the right legislators, where, it was on issues and it was robust and it was not just driven by handouts and fighting over CDF money and per diems and whatnot. So I think the quality has dropped, unfortunately. And maybe it has taken the last 2 years and seeing what has gone on in Parliament for people to realize, we shouldn't just send anyone. Because it's not just an MP issue. It's they're being voted in by people. And so a young me would be happy on the transparency front and the embracing of technology, would be frustrated at the quality of the representation and the ceding of power of the legislature itself, where it's become basically a second arm of the executive. I think the judiciary is trying to hold its own. We need Parliament to fight back and regain some level of independence and to do the work that they were sent there to do. I think that maybe it's for others to assess, the consumers of our work maybe can assess that. I do think because in many ways we've always been almost like 10 years ahead of where people are. So I remember when we were doing Dokeza and oh my God, like no one was engaging, and we're like, okay, we publish the draft and then people will comment and this. And now, folks are holding huge public self-organized hearings on bills and chamboing bills like on a daily basis. If you look at the seed bill, right? Like that was a very it wasn't like an individual, it's a very engaged process. So I think the trick, I'm not sure I can mark my own homework or our homework, mine. It's okay, I'm marking your own homework. I will say the challenge for us is to maintain the ability to do things early, even if it's not clear whether it will be successful or not, because it's the right thing to do and it's the important thing to do, because that has kept us ahead. So the promise tracker, for instance, I'm sure from next year everyone will be looking for it, right? Like, hey, wait a minute, and people, and the fact that people now, politicians, will respond to it as well and defend their record. But it's meant that for 3 years you're just gathering information and clear whether it to be used or not. So I think our challenge is to sort of be comfortable with being ahead of the curve. To think about how we can become even more accessible, meaning that not everything happens at the national government level. So much is going on at counties, and when counties work well, it's almost even more transformational than the national government that's working well. So how can we get more vibrant, more engaged county governments, starting with the MC, I think is maybe that's something we've just not had the capacity to do well. So to Mark, I would say we've done great in being ahead and not being driven by trends. There's some work to be done in how do we become more accessible and more dynamic and meet particularly the younger generation of today where they are. There's work that we need to do there. When our naming of it was literal, like, why are you doing this? It's because we're patriotic. It's not that we don't like MPs or, we're trying to catch them in like a thing, or that we're trying to prove something. It's really thinking about how can we build, not even why are we doing it, right? It's really for love of country. I have, over time, if I was to say my political philosophy, we need to love ourselves more as Kenyans, and then elect people who don't hate us. Actually, who even kind of like us. Because if you do that, like 80% of our problems, because there is a level of disdain that I feel our representatives have for us, and then as Kenyans we kind of feed into it. So we've become cynical. So we're like in this vicious cycle of fine, just bribe us and then we vote. We don't care like what happens in between. And the politicians are like, these guys, we just bribe them, whatever, you win. But they fundamentally don't like us. Many of them. They don't like Kenya, and they don't like Kenyans. I see Mzalendo, and I treat it not just as patriotism, but as love. It's out of love. It's out of love of self, that I want nice things for myself, my children, my family, because I love them. Love for other Kenyans, yeah. And then thinking about, what would it take? If you're patriotic, then you act out of love for Kenya and for Kenyans. So the first to that band that we all, I never got into it because of the previous government. I just can't bring myself to it. But I feel in the same way people wear it to demonstrate that they're Kenyan. Like if we extended that sense of pride and care to how we think about politics, it would be a much better place. When you vote, you're like, but does this person really even like Kenya? I even said not hate, right? So it's a very long-winded answer, but I think for me, if I was to extend Mzalendo beyond patriotism, it would be love. Two things. One, I do hope we get to be a bit more dynamic and capture this next generation of Kenyans before they become cynical. And two, that we can infuse and continue to infuse this need for civic engagement. And it's a continuous process. It's not just at elections, but these decisions matter on a day-to-day basis. And so I hope we can continue to play a central role in those conversations over time, and that we have an actual interesting institution to engage with. And I think just continuing to cement the respect and the independence and the recognition that we have elsewhere, that we don't lose that standard of quality that we have built so far. You guys are amazing. Thank you for everything you're doing. I know it's been a particularly tumultuous few years, But very proud, and I'd say just keep not just grinding, but I think the challenge is to think about innovation, to raise your level of ambition for what Mzalendo can be. But very proud. We have many marriages now that have happened in Mzalendo, many weddings, many babies. Uh, and so seeing folks who've gone to grad school and come back, or gone on to do other great things. So I think hopefully we'll continue to be a good home for talented people, whether they stay with us or whether they go on to other endeavors. But very well done, guys. And that we could celebrate 20 years without the co-founders. I don't even know what's happening next week. Like, isn't that amazing that you can just show up and everything will be done, and you trust the team that what they've put together is going to be fantastic. So very well done, guys.